Welcome back to First Take. In some insane news yesterday, that's how I felt about it. Bengals will not franchise tag Trey Hendrickson and will let him go elsewhere. A year ago, Cincinnati had Hendrickson. They went through a very long negotiation over his contract. It resulted in him getting a raise, but no years added to his deal, obviously. Despite only playing in 7 games in this past season, 2025, due to injury, Hendrickson still has the 4th most sacks in the NFL since joining the Bengals back in 2021. He also led the Bengals in sacks in 4 out of the last 5 seasons he was with the team. Okay. Before I turn this over to you guys, this, such bad business.
Tell us what you really
I read this yesterday. I was so appalled. My husband's from Cincinnati. I feel invested in this. I can't believe this is what they're doing with Trey Hendrickson, letting him leave for nothing when you could have gotten a return on the investment.
Oh, stop it.
It's ridiculous. No, it's ridiculous.
Stop it.
How should...
Stop it. I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
Go ahead, Shay. I'm sorry.
It's absurd.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Why do you disagree?
Oh, I'm saying to you, stop it, because you're saying you can't believe.
I can't believe it.
It's the Bengals. It's the Bengals. You should believe it. It's who they are. It's who they are. They are an inept franchise as far as I'm concerned. Listen, I know that they went to back-to-back AFC Championship games in 2021 and 2022. We all know that was because of Joe Burrow. We all know who this man is and what he represents. What is it? Best completion percentage in NFL history at 68.5%. 4th highest passer rating of all time at 101.1. The brother's an absolute stud. In the 3 full seasons that he's played, they've gone 31-18, 2 division titles, 2 AFC title games, and a Super Bowl appearance. But yet last year, Louis Riddick, Kimberly, what happened? He was there talking about his mental health to the point where people had to question whether or not he was long for playing football. Was he going to retire abruptly? Was he going to pull an Andrew Luck? What the hell was going on with him, even though he's in the midst of a $275 million contract through 2029? We were asking these questions. He put him to bed by saying he expects to play for a long time and expects to play well. But why were those questions in existence? Because mentally, he seemed warped. Why? Because he suffered another injury. Why? Because the Bengals, once again, had one of the worst offensive lines in football. They can't protect the man. And when you out there, Louis Riddick, you know this, better than me, better than Kimberly, even though Kimberly knows it better than most with all the NFL games she's covered, on the sideline with a snorkel shivering while she interviewing everybody. Bottom line is this: when you're around these people and you see the hits that they're taking, the punishment that they absorb, the attrition kicks in, and we keep thinking it's physical. Every player that I've ever spoken to tells me it's mental just as much, if not more so, because it precedes the physical, because you get a bit demoralized. Barely talks to anybody. You don't have a GM running football operations, at least with an official title as a GM. And you got a head coach in Zach Taylor who just forgets and negates the other responsibilities. Offense, Joe Burrow. You would think that you would prioritize defense. No, he does not do that. Usually, before this past season, he spent the previous 6 years in the first 2 games of the season. That's 12 games over 6 years. His record was 1-11. I have called for an investigation on numerous occasions. Investigate that man. What the hell is he doing in the offseason that the Cincinnati Bengals are never prepared to play in the beginning of September? What did they do defensively? 31st in total defense, 30th in scoring defense, dead last in run defense, 28th in third down defense. They are putrid. They are pathetic. And that's the problem. I'm talking defensively, because certainly not offensively with Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and those boys. But you got to give them something. And so when you don't see it happening, Shay, Kimberly, Louis Riddick, bottom line is this: don't be surprised. It's the Bengals. They are experts at getting in their own way. Floor is yours.
Yeah, look, this is a football team that, look, it's like a tale of 2 organizations as far as how they built this team offensively, how they built it defensively. Offensively, they've been good at building it on the perimeter with Joe, with Jamar, with T. I mean, they've done a great job as far as that's concerned with Joe when he was there, Joe Mixon. But as far as the offensive line, yeah, look, it's been well documented how they have really missed. It's not because they haven't tried to pour resources into the offensive line. It just hasn't worked out. That goes back to scouting, coaching, development, implementation. It's an organizational problem. Joe takes the brunt of it. He's the one who's out there getting beat around and getting the crap knocked out of him. And you're right, that does take a toll. Because really, the sacrifice, you'll make that sacrifice when you're winning, when you are going to the Super Bowl and you're 1 play away. You're one play away. You're one Aaron Donald sack away from maybe winning a Super Bowl. You get back to the AFC title game, so you're getting close, right? But see, here's the next thing, and you alluded to this. Defensively, the level of ineptitude that they have shown as far as being able to identify, develop, and implement defensive players from a draft perspective in particular is mind-boggling. Just think about this. The last 15 drafts, Cincinnati has drafted one Pro Bowler in the last 15 drafts.
Yeah, that's not even all pro.
And he's not
Pro Bowler.
A Pro Bowler, a very subjective, hey, let me just write this guy in type. They can't even get that. They've had one, and that's Jesse Bates. He's no longer on the team.
And that also is mismanaged.
Okay, so when you're talking about Trey, look, we talked about this all last year. What they were doing to him, it was wrong. Mm-hmm. And you could forecast him getting hurt right from the offseason because he wasn't in camp. He wasn't taking part in camp. And we all know this. To get in football shape, you have to play football. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he was missing all that time, you were setting yourself up for a guy who's 30-plus. You know he's going to wind up putting himself, or rather subjecting himself to a higher probability of getting injured because he didn't do nothing in the offseason with the team.
Right.
As far as football activity, you're right. They've mismanaged this thing every which way from Sunday. And I'm telling you, Joe Burrow, you better keep an eye on him because dude looked like he's had enough.
Well, Joe Burrow came out and said this year, things need to change on a variety of levels. But, Steven, you seem to be Zach Taylor's biggest detractor. But you know why Zach Taylor still has a job? Because of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow feels like Zach Taylor, we can win with him. I don't know, Shay, your husband's from Cincinnati. I don't know if you're a Bengals fan, what gives you hope for the season outside of Joe Burrow? Because we showed the graphic earlier of Trey Hendrickson's stats. When you're in company with Myles Garrett and TJ Watt and Micah Parsons, that's a guy I think a franchise should do everything it can to keep around. But you've seen them sort of dismantle things, make poor decisions when it comes to the roster. Lou Anarumo, fantastic defensive coordinator, but yet wasn't good enough for Cincinnati, right? When I look at this team, there are just so many holes, and I don't trust the front office to make the decisions that will take the Bengals and Joe Burrow to the next level. Because Joe Burrow literally has carried this team on his back when healthy, and he's gotten hurt trying to do too much. Offensively, love the weapons that he has, but it's just not enough. He's playing without half a squad, essentially.
It's a hamster wheel of utility on this.
I hate to say this, but this is the reality. Going to the Super Bowl might have been the worst thing for the Bengals because it gave them false hope. They went there, and now they think they can duplicate that same success without making changes or investing to other parts of this football team. They went to the Super Bowl. What was their problem? Their offensive line was horrific.
Yeah.
Okay, they invested
sacked over 70-something times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They invested in the offensive line for 1 year. 1 year, and then it was completely dismantled. The defense completely fell apart. They have completely mismanaged Jesse Bates, and now Trey Hendrickson, your two stars of that side of the ball, of the defensive side of the team. To let Trey Hendrickson walk without any sort of trade value is a crime.
If you're another team, you've been watching this Trey Hendrickson thing play out, and you know that the future, he was not long for Cincinnati.
Of course.
So you're waiting.
Trey was one of the very good scouting, signing, utilization examples that they've had. They've had a ton on that side of the football that have been awful. They had a ton on the offensive side of the football. Again, we're talking about the offensive line. They have poured resources. So look, this is an organizational issue when it comes to scouting and evaluating and selecting, developing, implementing. That's what it is. That whole continuum is off. It's off. They've hit it in certain spots. Jamar's pretty easy. Jamar was pretty good, right?
Joe's
pretty easy. He's pretty easy.
How much does Joe Burrow make? About?
He's 50 plus.
Okay. It's hard to feel sorry for a person that makes 50 plus million dollars
no,
a year.
it's easy to feel sorry for Joe Burrow.
It's easy to feel sorry for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It is.
It
is. Go ahead. You want to get in?
Dr. Eva, let's go.
Only thing I got to say is that, you bring up Zach Taylor. Listen, one could easily argue, who can't coach an offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins? If you know anything about football, you'd be able to coach those guys. There's a whole bunch of cats you could grab off the scrap heap to do the job that he's done offensively. But when you're a head coach, it's your job to be an overseer of offense, defense, and special teams, or to allocate responsibility to those who know what the hell they're doing and to operate accordingly. And when you look at Joe Burrow and how despondent he has appeared on a few occasions. When you look at the bevy of injuries he suffered from and how you repeatedly haven't provided him with an offensive line that protects him, that's an indictment against the coach. That's an indictment against the organization. And so, listen, I think that Zach Taylor definitely could be an offensive coordinator. Got the talent. I trust him. But in terms of being a leader of a team collectively, he has shown me nothing in that regard. And eventually, Joe Burrow better open his eyes. Otherwise, his frustrations are only going to grow. Period.
Since making the Super Bowl in 2021, the Bengals have only been to the playoffs.
That's a crime.
One time.
That's a crime.
Since then. Coming up on First Take, which team has the highest ceiling in the association? We have a take that, of course, you won't see coming. Plus, the time is finally here. What does Stephen A have to say to the Pelicans after what they did to him on social